Okay, people. Sorry, no earrings. It's not a fashion show right now. My life is like, I don't know what the hell's going on with it, but this is just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to call this one, I don't know who I'm fighting with. Am I fighting with Fraser Health? Am I fighting with the BC Liberal government? Am I fighting with the employees at this care facility that my dad is in? Am I fighting with my dad's extended family in Victoria that all of a sudden, after all these years, want him to move over and move in with his elderly sister as if somehow she can provide better care for him by herself? But she's got money, right? So she can hire people to come in and, you know, and do the things that need to be done, right? But if you notice, these people don't help us with the nonprofit. They act like it doesn't exist. They've mocked it, as a matter of fact. And apparently somebody within his family, you know, in Victoria, which is across the water, works for Christy Clark. Is Christy Clark's Premier Christy Clark's secretary or something. Something to do with Christy Clark and the Premier of this province and working within the office. So these people on that side of the water, they have, the majority of them have money. The sister that came over a couple of days ago, they're not calling us. You know, they're not acknowledging my children, right? My children, my daughters and my son have taken my dad to Victoria since we've been over here on the mainland for the last 14 years, probably 20 times. 20 times they've taken him across to see his wife when she was living over there before she moved over here, and his mom and his sisters, right? I guess they forgot about that. Anyway, I had this little meeting today. The social worker's been straight up lying. Straight up lying, people. First, she's saying that John agreed that he wanted to go to convalescent care. That's what she told me yesterday. Because she tried to cancel the appointment. Well, no, she didn't try to cancel the appointment. What she tried to do was reschedule it so that, you know, kids weren't going to make it on time. I said, no, I'll see what I can do. I'll try and get us there a little earlier. And then I said, but, you know, we're still talking about him coming home. She says, no. I've already talked to John, and he wants to go to convalescent care. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know what kind of meeting we're going to have with that, but we'll see you tomorrow. Then she calls again today, right? An hour before we have to get there for this meeting, and tells me that John requested that the kids don't show up. That I should be there by myself, because it's not going to be an 8-member team no more. It's just going to be her, me, and somebody else with John. And John doesn't want the kids there. I said, well, I don't know about that. I said, we're all showing up. If we have to, we'll schedule. So we showed up. First thing I did was I wanted to confirm whether they had him listed as confused or not confused today. Because you never know from one day to the next what it's going to be. He's always confused when he doesn't do what they want him to do. But as soon as they want him to do something, he's not confused. So before we moved on with the meeting with my dad sitting there, I wanted to confirm with the social worker that he was coherent. Then she was very elusive. She wouldn't admit that, she wouldn't confirm, I'm sorry. She was very elusive. She mumbled over her words. You know, she was thinking fast. Something my dad doesn't do, because, you know, he's old timer, right? So he thinks a little slower than her. So, but she's thinking, you could see the wheels just going like this, right? And she was very elusive to confirm. In other words, she didn't say yes and she didn't say no, and then she just kind of passed the buck and said it wasn't her place to dictate whether he was or whether he wasn't. So we moved on. And then when I asked her about not having the kids there, she straight up again. Well, this is the first lie she got caught in, right? I said, why did you tell me that the kids weren't supposed to be here today? Oh, I didn't say that. Because I asked my dad, I said, did you ask to not have the kids here today? Even though my son had only been there like a couple of hours earlier visiting him, right? And my daughters have been visiting him. Everybody's been visiting him for fucking weeks now, people, right? Sometimes 2 a day. You know, one will come and the other one will leave and the other one will come. And he said, I never said that. Nobody asked me that. Nobody told me that. I never said that. And then when I asked the social worker about that, she said, well, that's not what I said. You misunderstood it. I said, no, you specifically told me on the phone to not have the kids there, that John requested for them not to be there. So, of course, she mumbled around that one. And then I asked her about, well, you know, why is he, you know, you're telling me he wants to go to convalescent care 2 days ago. What happened about coming home? I said, John, did you tell her, you know, did you want to go to convalescent care? Is this what you told her? Because if this is really what you want. He goes, no. He said, why? No, I want to go back to where I started from. In other words, to where he left. In other words, he left home, went to the hospital. He wants to go back home. And then a bombshell was dropped on us. I guess in the last 3 or 4 days from now, his sister, who is not that young, just an old bird that's sitting up in some mansion, right? Because she's a nurse and makes good money and has no responsibilities. Obviously doesn't care about, you know, stuff like this. Because again, you know, the family's been mocking this nonprofit ever since it's been conceived. Came over across the ferry and now has put her name down with the social worker and the team to ship John off to Victoria and have him go live with her. And she'll look after him. And then they throw out Debbie's name. And the social worker asks me, what's your relationship like with Debbie? I said, Debbie? Well, let me put it to you this way. John! There's Debbie. John! A person that's called 4 times in the last 25 years, 23, 24 years of living in this house. Only at the instigation of maybe her grandmother. Right? Somebody that couldn't take the time to hop on the ferry and say goodbye to her dying mother. Well, she sat up in a care facility for a whole fucking year, waiting for her beloved adopted daughter to show up and at least visit for an hour. Debbie couldn't do that for her mom. And she couldn't even come over and see her within her last week on her deathbed. We told her she's dying. Come. I can't. I don't want to. I can't. And then when she did die, I said, here's her stuff. Come get her stuff. I don't want it. Throw it out. I don't care what you do with it. I don't care. I don't want it. Throw it out. Tell John to throw it out. Tell John to throw it out. So you tell me what kind of relationship I have with this female. 0. But all of a sudden she's up in the mix. And they want to send John for 2 months to Victoria so his sister can look after him. Somebody that's probably 65 years old herself. And she's going to look after him. And then when he's all better, they're going to ship him back over here. I looked at the social worker. I said, are you serious? Do you honestly think these people are going to ship him back? So then it got into the discussion of what does home represent to John? What does family represent to John? He's got his extended family in Victoria that's practically ignored him his whole fucking life. Right? All of a sudden coming out of the fucking woodwork trying to rescue John. Remove him completely away from us. Right? Or us. His investment for the last 30 years of his life. Right? 23, living in the household. Right? What's the definition to John in terms of family? Well, it was established as us. He wants to come back to where he left off with us, his family. He wants to go visit his sister. He wants to go visit his mother, who's almost 100 years old, right? For her birthday, before she dies. But he wants to jump back up on the ferry with my daughters and come back home. And we're arguing about this. Arguing, because this social worker just arguing. What is it with fucking social workers, man? You know, not only do they lie, but they connive and they purport more than one lie. And well, I feel he still needs this. Well, regardless of what you feel, it's not about your feelings. What about John's spiritual being? What about John's mental health? You know, his physical being isn't improving because apparently he's having nightmares now. Last few days, he's been waking up fucking having nightmares because he's all freaked out that he can't come home. Right? They're not releasing him. They're not letting him come home. Right? So his mental health is deteriorating because he's getting more depressed. You know, they're still bombarding him. Right? Now they got the family coming in trying to convince him that it's all going to be rosy once he gets to fucking Victoria. And they're going to be one big fucking happy family. And he can just forget about us. Completely forget about us. I don't know, people. It's very hard for me to stay positive. I try so hard to stay positive. I have to get back up into this yard. Right? And I'm trying really, really hard to stay positive with this yard. I went out there for 2 days. I'm telling you, when I came in, I was packed full of mud. That's all it is mud. Because of this water problem that I've got from coming into my yard with the neighbors and fucking gutters and all this shit. Right? Grandson, full of mud. Right? Pants, clothes, full of mud. You know, because when you're working in the yard, you ain't got time to be, oh, I can't get dirty. You just get there and do what you have to do. And by the time you're done with a yard like mine, you're covered in fucking mud. But I'm trying to stay positive, right? You know, I'm trying to stay positive. You know, trying to stay positive with Mr. Lace and his new birds, right? I got those hens, I got 4 eggs. 4 eggs on February 10th. Lady Bird surprised me. Lady Bird surprised me, right? This is what today, I got 3 today. So since February 10th, which is 10 days. 10 days? No, sorry. Today's the 17th. So, in the last 7 days, right? That's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 16 eggs in the last 7 days. That's a lot of eggs, people, in 7 days. 16 eggs, and these are like 100% organic. High protein. And of course, my dad doesn't get the pleasure of enjoying this. Remove yourself, please. Not now. Remove yourself. Don't distract.
I walk after.
Yeah. Stay quiet. Behave. You be a nice little boy. Okay? 16 eggs. I'm talking. 16 eggs in the last 7 days. I don't want to have to talk over your voice. Please stay quiet. And my dad is being treated like a fool. Like he's got a mental illness. Because they constantly confuse him. And when they're called on it, like, you said that to not have my kid. I said, John, why did you not want the kids here? I never said that. Why all of a sudden are you talking about, is this really what you want to do? Do you really want to go to convalescent care? No. Well, that's not what I'm being told on the phone in the last 2 days. And then they drop that bombshell with the family lurking around trying to take him over on the ferry and move him in with a 65-year-old woman. As if somehow she can look after him better just because she has money. Right? And Debbie is going to step up to the plate. Even though all her mother's personal pictures and that kind of crap is sitting downstairs in my garage waiting for Debbie to come pick up her mother's belongings. Her mother's been dead for over 1.5 years almost now. And she never even took a fucking day to come see her while she was in the hospital while her mother was crying for her daughter to come see her. So, please. I'm having a little trouble with this young man here because he's getting awfully cheeky. I mean, he's getting stressed out with this. He had another little tantrum in the, where my dad is at. Right? Because he can sense this. Who am I fighting with? Am I fighting with Fraser Health? With the UN Agenda 21 under the UN fucking whatever they got there? Because this is what it's kind of like here. They're trying to take over John and his property. Take over his pension plan. Social worker asked me, well, are you trying to keep him because you need the finances? I said, no. Like, bring him home, right? I said, no. I said, I'm trying to bring him home so his mental health can heal. so his spiritual health can heal, so he can get back into his normal routine and feel comfortable in his environment so that he can heal. The physical part, that will come in due time, right? In terms of exercising. But everything else is going off to the wayside, right? Especially when he's constantly being manipulated by a bunch of strangers, and now he's got his family coming in there saying, well, we'll look after him. So he's like saying, no, I want to go home. Well, what's home, Mr. Duncan? Well, Judy and the kids, Marcane, Shimei, Tisha, you know, that's home. So I have to work on this nonprofit. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Can you stop? Because you're a distraction. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I'm starting to feel sick with this. Move! I'm starting to feel sick with this. Okay, because this is what happened with my grandson. I went from 105 pounds down to 90. Okay, within months when they took my grandson. My nonprofit fell off to the fucking wayside, lost like almost a year and a half of paperwork and all that stuff that's important to do, right? Went almost bankrupt again because of it, right? And it's happening all over again. It's happening all over again. Well, a social worker sits up there and says, well, I didn't say that. Well, actually, I just talked to you on the phone an hour ago, and you specifically told me that John said not to have the kids there. And I said, well, we're showing up as scheduled, and we'll reschedule it, if that's the case. And I asked him, and he said he didn't say it. And he said it to the social worker's face. And then she turned it around and she said, well, that's not what I meant. This is the kind of stuff I'm dealing with. This is the kind of stuff that makes me ill, people. So I don't know how I'm going to work in this muddy yard and keep up with that pace. I don't know how I'm going to work on the website and bring it up to par so you, the viewer, can see where we're at, where we are at financially. And you know, I've got the paperwork already figured out for HSBC Bank. So once that's all signed by another board director, because John did sign that one, you know, and again, his family doesn't give a shit about it. You know, they think it's a fucking joke. They think I'm a joke. Like, I like to see this nonprofit, like, seriously, take root, and then my family, my extended family, come out of the woodwork and all of a sudden care about me after all these years. My kids will look at these people and say, are you kidding? You want to call yourself Judy's cousin? You want to call yourself Judy's, well, my uncles are dead, right? I only got one aunt that may or may not be alive. Outside of that, you know, all I got left is cousins. But they're all racist. And they're all bigots, and they're all judgmental and prejudiced and selfish and all about me. But could you imagine if this nonprofit actually does what it's supposed to do? All of a sudden, they get wind that Judy Chorney is the founder of this nonprofit, and she actually broke the glass ceiling and made a difference in this world, just wasn't a fucking taker? You don't think my cousins aren't going to come and look around and, you know, and check it out? Well, this is the same kind of thing with John, only John hasn't broken the ceiling because he depends on me to break that ceiling. But these people, stop it. These people that have him right now, that are operating under Agenda 21 through the UN, because the pretext is, well, he can't move around very much. And I told him, Mark Andre, please stay quiet. I told him, that's because you created the crises in the hospital. The minute he got to the hospital, the crises was preset to be implemented so that they could come in and rescue him. They made him lay for 3 weeks straight. And they blamed it on being delusional. And they played on it. And now they practically broke his spirit. And they've got him self-doubting himself. They got him fucking having nightmares now, right? They got him feeling guilty for wanting to come home with his family that he's been with for umpteen years and loves and trusts, right? And they're trying to play the extended family card as if all of a sudden they're significant in his life, even though it was my kids that took him to go see them because they never could take the time to come and see him, and they never even took the time to fucking call him. Stop it. So I'm getting sick. It's already starting. I can feel it. Between the yard and this, and the lies, and the game playing, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. Because they don't want these kind of people that got good money sitting up in fucking Shawnigan Lake there with a big house and $100,000 fucking year job, or fucking $100,000 a year pensions and all this other shit, right? Working for the premier of this province, and you know, and that those kind of people, you know, they don't care about shit like this. They don't care about anything. I've been working on this nonprofit for 14 fucking years. They think it's a joke, right? So if they think that this is a joke, well, what do they think about their brother? You know, really. They don't support him on this. They never have. They never have. It's a power trip right now. And through this power trip, they're going to make me sick. And who do I fight? Do I fight the provincial government for allowing this to happen? Huh? Because they're the ones that bring in the legislation for this shit to happen. I said to the social worker, so my dad has basically lost all his human rights. He can't come home. Right? Which is a form of, he's lost his human rights. He's lost his human rights. He's cognitive enough, maybe not as much as they'd like him to be, but he's always been a little, you know, he doesn't have the gift of the gab. I have the gift of the gab. I'm the one that reads the paperwork. I'm the one that deals with the legal matters. I'm the one that, like I said, fights the crooked landlords or does whatever has to be done. Right? I'm the one that does the paperwork, whether it's personal paperwork or whether it's non-profit paperwork. And these people have absolutely no respect for that. Absolutely none. And instead, they want to act like we don't exist, and that somehow, after all these years, they can just come in and play a fucking heavy, throw their money around, act like they fucking care about society, and then just throw us off to the curb. Basically. So my kids are being shit on right now. Big time. My kids are being shit on, people. Big time. Big time. My dad is being shit on. So who do I fight? You know, do I take it to the Supreme Court of Canada? Do I sue Fraser Health? Do I sue the BC Liberal government for another fucking shit fest? Because this is all it is. It's just another shit fest, right? Do I sue the care facility for having lying social workers in there that got caught in their fucking lies and obviously have a different agenda? Stop it. Like, really? Do I wait for the family to take it to court to go stand up against them in fucking court and call them on their nonsense? Because if it comes to that, I'll go. I'll fucking go. Because we're the ones that have been with John all these years. Right? The fucking history is there. All the paperwork is there. What are they going to say? It doesn't mean anything? Just like this paperwork with this non-profit means nothing? Well, yeah, they wish it meant nothing. And they make it so it means nothing. Right? Because they're always out to make me look like a fucking fool, right? Keep me in the fucking dirt, right? Keep me in the mud, huh? You know, be the little fucking Cinderella in the corner there, right? Is that it? Anyway, we got 16 eggs in the last 7 days. That's a lot of eggs, people. And my dad should be home to be a part of that process. Because this was his investment. And they're taking it away from him. And they're going to ship him on a fucking boat, stuff him up God knows where. Because do you honestly believe that his sister's going to keep him in her nice fucking house for the length of the time that he's got left on this planet? No, she's going to probably end up putting him in a care fucking facility over there. And they'll go visit him once in a while and think, aha, we got her. We got her. As they continue to trash what my dad had a hand in. Because he believed in me. Because he believed in me. Something that these people don't. The social worker, none of these people. None of these fucking people believe in anything. Because they're all about themselves. And what's in their immediate head. And how they can benefit for themselves, whether it's their paycheck, whether it's ego, whether it's I gotcha. Can you stop it? Anyway, I gotta go.